Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome to the final part of the Sonic X Shadow Generations commentary, as today we face off against the Egg Dragoon. And this time doing it in a Sonic battle because of, this thing originated in Sonic Unleashed, and the only time you ever actually fought this thing was as the Werehog, if you're not counting the sick-as-hell CGI intro where Sonic kicks this thing's ass 6 ways from Sunday. But either way, we get a hell of a boss fight here, pretty cool, and can be a bit long-winded if you don't know what you're doing. It has multiple attack phases, but, you know, overall, pretty decent, and part of the reason why I decided to use Live and Learn, do I even need a fucking reason? This song is sick as hell, and pretty much goes with anything, really. It's just that damn good. Although, slightly more logistically, part of the reason why I decided to use it was because I found the Egg Dragoon boss fight theme kind of boring, which, it's kind of an indictment of Sonic Unleashed soundtrack. Well, you know what, I tell a lie. Sonic Unleashed does have a decent soundtrack, it's just that half of it is drowned out with dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. And the other half of it is just sort of, kind of unmemorable and a bit, well, I mean, fittingly worldly, but, yeah, it's not up there with some of my favorites, really. But all the same, though, like, I mean, this can be a fairly lengthy boss fight depending on some of the phases you get into, but, yeah. You do have opportunities to sort of pip Eggman where it hurts on the Egg Dragoon, you know, throughout his multiple different attack phases. It's just, you know, finding an opportunity to hit him. The most times you usually get to hit him is either when he does his whole time for a change of pace thing where he does a whole little wall jump thing, but you never know. Other times, if you get close enough, you can either pip his cockpit or jump up high enough and boost, you know, just to tell him where the sun don't shine. As you shove your spikes right up his egg ovulin keister. I have no idea what I was really saying, but the point is that, yep, boss fight to do, fight win. And to give it a little bit of context as to where we're actually are right now, we're actually in the center of the Earth. Sort of navigating around, well, the core where Dark Guy was set to awaken. Yeah, you don't really get that too much unless, of course, you're looking down below, although chances are you'll probably be more focused on the boss fight at the moment, but honest to God, thank goodness we didn't have a Dark Gaia boss fight, because, Jesus Christ. You're either going to be getting the table scraps of Eraser Jin as it was in the Wii version, or very shittily designed fucking boost Gaia Temple to hit thing and then take damage through no fault of your own, and then you get this rather boring Nights into Dream style battle, because, you know, Sega were also developing a Journey of Dreams right around the same time, and we never saw Nights ever again. And we were all hoping for something to come of Nights Dream Wheel, but that turned out to be fucking nothing either, so sad face. Well, then again, I'm also still sad face because no new Burning Rangers, so whatever, even I don't get everything I want. Although, speaking of, you know, Sega-related releases at a time of recording anyway, yeah, around about the time the Game Awards sort of, it came into the apparel, you know, last year. Well, I can't technically say last year, it was only about a month or two ago, but, I'll get into that a little bit later. Basically, dive down and hit Eggman's cockpit, fucking whatever. Hit the cockpit, and this is where you're meant to end the boss fight for, you know, epic story continuity reasons, but I fail. In any case, what I wanted to talk about beforehand, so long as you don't smack your head against the closing blast doors like a dumbass, is that, yeah, Virtual Fighter 6 was announced, actually, which I'm actually very excited for. I mean, honestly, it's been nearly 20 years since Virtual Fighter 5 and its various ports and re-releases, and, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Virtual Fighter 6 has to offer. It's currently still untitled at the moment, but, yeah. I'm not very much into my fighting games, but Virtual Fighter is the one I make an exception for. So, yeah, very happy to see that coming back, and, it is being handled by Ryuga Gotoku behind the, you know, Yakuza and Like a Dragon games, so, yeah, man, I'm pretty excited. But yeah, putting all that aside, though, not really too much else to say in terms of this boss fight, really. I'm really just sort of vibing with, the music, really. Just, enjoying Live and Learn. And, I'm home. But yeah, apart from that, though, we're not really too much of the game left to cover. Well, I mean, it's the final part, of course there isn't much of the game fucking left, but yeah. We're coming to the end of the Sonic Generations portion, and it might seem a bit longer than it is, but that's only because I've also added a lot of these additional parts onto the Shadow portion. So, I mean, that's part of what I was saying beforehand, in that, you know, the Shadow portion of Sonic X Shadow Generations helps to make this feel like a more complete game, so yeah, in any case, I'll let you enjoy the cutscene, and Yeah, cutscenes galore in this part, actually.
Sonic!
I recalibrated everything! This was supposed to be my time!
Oh, please, keep dreaming, Egghead. I beat you every time. No, seriously, we beat him every time. Our scorecard's flawless.
Stopping Eggman is always good, but the root of the problem is that monster. Maybe we can call a truce and... Look, he got your Eggman too. Oh, this is getting serious.
So, even modern Dr. Eggman and, well, both Eggman, now that I think about it, have been kidnapped. Well, I mean, considering that Black Doom's whole thing was mainly about Shadow, he couldn't possibly be behind this, and, yes, I'll wonder who the final villain will be. But yeah, if you don't have the Chaos Emeralds by this point, you pretty much have to complete all the rival fights and pretty much get all that done. Yeah, and by the time you finished here, you just pretty much go up onto this thing and, access the final boss fight. So, yeah, more story content go now.
Okay, Gruesome, you're cornered. So how about you just give up and restore the timeline like you found it?
You're not in a position to demand anything, you nasty little pincushion!
Eggman! No wonder!
He had a little help.
Dr. Robotnik?
Nobody calls me that anymore. If you would be so kind as to explain, gentleman genius Dr. Eggman from the future. It will be my pleasure, most excellent and efficacious Dr. Eggman of the past. After Sonic ruined my interstellar amusement park, I stumbled upon a dark primordial essence. I discovered it possessed abilities I have long desired to harness for myself. Namely, that it could travel through the dimension of time, so I decided to utilize its marvelous capabilities and rewrite the past. In order to perfect it, I needed the help of somebody as smart as I am. The only person that smart is me. Oh, you are too kind, my dear future self, and I was happy to help. And now all of time is ours, to do with as we please.
But the more your monster tears through the timeline, the more damage you do to it.
So, I'm going to erase that line and reshape it as I see fit. Huh? And they call me eccentric. No one will judge us anymore after we've destroyed these Sonics forever. Shall we begin then, Doctor? By all means, my dear Doctor.
Destroy me? In your dreams, Eggman. I beat you all the time by myself, and now there's two of me.
Then I'll have twice as much fun defeating you.
Keep moving!
Move all you want. I'm still going to squash you into a blue jelly. That was just to soften you up. Now it's time to meet your doom.
You're tougher than that. Come on!
Not you.
On your feet.
You're not beat yet.
Who are they? They are insignificant. You face worse, Sonic.
Focus your spirit.
We're right behind you. I believe in you, Mr. Sonic. Embrace the emeralds.
Harness their power, Sonic.
You have to win, Sonic, like you've done time and again.
to scramble some Eggman, supersonic style!
Sonic, can you hear me? I worked with me to modify these transceivers. Even though we're in different dimensions, you should still be able to hear us.
Finish
We're
it!
gonna help too! We're gonna win this one together!
Hell yeah, woohoo! And now we have the one original element of Sonic Generations, which kind of ends the game on, well, a bit of a damp squib, unfortunately. The Time Eater boss fight, which,
Careful, Sonic.
well, I really don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. I mean, well, for commentary sake, I'm gonna try and tell you what I think you're supposed to. I mean, obviously, you're meant to hit the core of the Time Eater that is being protected by both Eggmen. It switches between the 2D and 3D planes by switching between classic and modern Sonic, so... yeah, what I think you're meant to do is that you're meant to basically just boost towards the core so you can damage it. You do technically have an attack where you can, when switching between other Sonics, you can pretty much just charge them up, and as modern Sonic right here, you pretty much use them to boost through attacks like Eggman's interdimensional hands right over there and avoiding a little, the missile attacks. Or as, you know, when you're controlling modern Sonic and shooting classic Sonic, you pretty much shoot that into the core and use that to sort of home in and eventually get both Sonics to sort of, you know, deal double damage and, you know, gradually chip away the boss's health piece by piece. At least I think that's how it's meant to go. Both strategies aren't entirely reliable, and I think you're meant to use the Sonic projectile to damage the debris that's sort of in the time field here. I think. I don't really know. Again, the biggest problem with this boss fight is feedback. You can tell when you hit the core, and that's obviously what you're meant to do, but everything else though, like in terms of dodging attacks, is fine, but you don't really tend to get much of a feedback of, this is the attacks that you're meant to be using, and this is what's the most effective strategy, so... yeah, it's a bit of a mess. It's not quite as difficult as, when I first played the game, but at the same time, though, it's also a little bit, loosey-goosey. In terms of any other attacks the Eggman boss fight does have, well, but the Time Eater anyway, is basically controlling the flow of time, slowing it down, and all that kind of thing, but... yeah, not really too much to worry about. Bangin' tune of the day is I Am All of Me. I'm kind of fitting, 2 Sonics, 2 Eggmen. I don't know, I thought it was fitting anyway, and, you know, rockin' tune. What you would have been getting instead was basically the dun 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 medley sort of playing over and over, which I felt was kind of a bit pish, so... yeah, nothing really to worry about. As far as anything else is concerned, though, in terms of story content, yeah... this, Time Eater being an artificial creation of Eggman after he found that primordial substance. I mean, bear in mind, this was very much, you know, during the days when everybody was tired of the whole Eggman uses a god monster and then gets kind of sick of his shit and then he gets knocked by the wayside, so, yeah, credit to Sonic Team for coming up with at least a slightly more interesting plot aspect in this case, but... yeah, I mean, it kind of makes the whole artificial mystery of, oh, the Time Eater's consuming everything, feel a little bit pointless, but... yeah, whatever, Generations plot is pretty anemic, and I suppose they did technically want Eggman to be the big final boss fight for Sonic's 20th anniversary, so, whatever. It is what it is, and, you know, yeah, just really. But yeah, regardless of the changes in script, they still have all the characters pretty much saying, look out Sonic, it looks like a homing shot, so... yeah, mimetic lines still remain intact. All except for Shadow's, you got this, Sonic. Except now we know that he had a very stressful day, saying goodbye to Maria, giving him the last Chaos Emerald, and also the one time you'll ever hear the Sonic the Hedgehog 4 theme, because it was one of the games released just a year prior, before Sega would abandon that line, so sadly anyone hoping for Sonic 4 Episode 3, well, will be sadly mistaken. But in any case, cutscenes go now, and I'll see you with the end credits after a Pepsi.
still warm. Time travel.
That's what I'm talking about. I'll admit, you weren't half bad, Sonic.
Half bad? Are you kidding? He was all great! So, I have a question for you. Once we're home, you think the timeline will be restored? Yep. Just don't think about it too hard.
It was great teaming up with you, or me. Maybe this will fast-track you to learning some new tricks in the future. Wait, I mean, past. Ugh, time travel's a chore. Dude, sweet! And you're only gonna get better!
There's our portal home.
Hey, Sonic! Enjoy your future! It's gonna be great!
Oh god, the amount of fan edits and internet reviews that I've ever seen with, people going, Sonic, enjoy your future, it's gonna be great, then showing a clip of 06 through Black Knight is staggering at this point. But in any case, you remember during the Shadow portion that I mentioned that I was going to be doing something interesting with the credits? Well, here it is, Sonic Youth by Crush 40. A song that I swear to god should have been used in Sonic Generations, and it probably would have been the case if it didn't come out a year later during Crush 40's own little anniversary, where Sonic Youth was basically meant to be the thank you to all of their fans and paying homage to a lot of the Sonic songs that they contributed. I mean, having Jun Senoi, who is one of the big Sonic composers on their payroll, and Johnny Gioeli, yeah. Again, had it been released a year earlier or whatever, I don't know, feels fitting for Sonic Generations, but what you otherwise would have been getting is a credits medley in the style of the Mega Drive Sonic games, which, yeah. So, I mean, instead I decided to just go, you know what, fuck it, we get a bit of Crush 40 in here, we'll get a bit of Julian K with this machine. Why the hell not? This is my Sonic X Shadow Generations commentary, and I can do as I please. But in any case, though, yeah, that was the Sonic Generations portion for Sonic X Shadow Generations. Again, really fun game. I do think it does lose a bit of steam towards the modern portion by the time you get to Crisis City through Planet Wisp. But those are the only two real damp squibs in terms of levels, really. Everything else is decent, really. The only things I didn't really show off that I kind of wish I did was like one or two like character assistance levels where you pretty much summon a character for help and use them in the little challenge maps to get the boss keys, but yeah, you weren't really missing too much, and, you know, for a truncated version of Generations, I feel like I at least gave you the gist of what the game offers, and if this is your cup of tea, then, well, Sonic X Shadow Generations, available in stores now, digitally and physically, so, yeah, you can pick it up, have a really good time. It would make for a good present that'll keep you entertained all throughout the new year, I think. A lot of fun, really. But yeah, Generations, I feel... Again, if I was just talking about Sonic Generations in and of itself all alone, I would say that a decent game while you have the experience, if a little bit anemic in terms of story content. The Shadow portion finally completes the game, so yeah, much like in a Sonic and Knuckles kind of way, Sonic and Shadow finally complete together, as it was meant to be. So yeah, I enjoy both games, they complement each other as a complete package, and it really did kind of bolster my opinion of Sonic Generations in and of itself. Great game, and really enjoyed it, so yeah. It's probably part of why I was feeling overall a lot more positive about this commentary than I have been, well, over some of the other Sonic games I could have coloured with, well, a slight dips in enthusiasm towards Crisis City and Planet Wisp, but hey, it was only like one or two segments, so it didn't stay that way for long, so overall, feeling the joy and enthusiasm, as is the case of what Sonic is wont to do, well, when you're enjoying the franchise. Which I am, very much! But yeah, putting all that aside though, we're now well into 2025, so I suppose it's worth covering. What's next? Well, yeah, I've got a few games lined up for the summer, which you're probably already seeing either right now or, well, we'll be seeing throughout January and February. The first of which being, well, Streets of Rage 3. I was intending to cover it at the end of 2024, but this game took a bit longer than expected, as was, you know, a few other projects that I had in the works at the moment, but, yeah, Streets of Rage 3 is coming. Complementing that is also going to be Comic Zone, both two Mega Drive fighting games, and, ones that are quite decent beat-em-ups, really. So, yeah, you have that to look forward to. On Australia Day of this year, you also have, fuck, what was it again? Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex on Australia Day, that's it. God, I don't know why my brain blanked out. I blame the heat. And, yeah, so Crash Bandicoot, two beat-em-up games on Mega Drive hardware. And, after that, should be, and this might be coming around February, maybe, March, yeah, that should be Freelancer. It's a space combat game that I've been looking forward to playing for quite a while now, and, well, might be a bit unusual for some of the other games that I've covered, but I do hope you get a kick out of it. It's one of my favourites and has a very flavourful science fiction aesthetic that I can dig like a shallow grave. And I suppose in terms of any other major games I'm going to be covering this year, well, again, I've sort of brought it up all about, but I am planning on covering, you know, Sonic Frontiers in commentary form, but that'll be much later. But yeah, coming up in May 15th, as is typical of our coverage, will be Kingdom Hearts 3. And, yeah, do plan to do a little something extra with that, you know, provided a certain cut prologue that was in one of the collections, so you'll be seeing that as well. And in between those two games will also be Devil May Cry 2, so yeah, that's pretty much all the commentaries I have majorly planned for this year, so yeah, 2025 is going to be a pretty packed year, I mean, on top of that, and also in terms of review content, so yeah, I mean, Scully reviews might be coming to an end, but let me tell you, it's going to be an action-packed year full with all sorts of things that I'm going to be working my ass off on, so yeah, I hope you look forward to that. By the way, notice that Sonic 06's gameplay footage right there had only ever showcased the automated segments plus one bit of slowdown. No, that wasn't for special effect, that was the game slowing down, and yeah. By the way, also notice that they carefully cropped the footage in order to, like, hide any of the specific button inputs, like, you know, so they don't show, you know, Xbox button inputs on PlayStation hardware, or GameCube inputs on, you know, the Xbox 360 version of the game. I don't know, I find it quite funny, and it's especially noticeable when you look at the HUD for Sonic Heroes, how they desperately had to cut that out, but I don't know. Again, it is pretty much showing all the Sonic games up to this point, and, you know, you do get a brief look at all the games long since past, and, well, Sonic's 20-year anniversary history, and now he's 30th anniversary, and, oh, be borns, be tired borns. And I really am starting to feel my age at this point, because a lot of the games that I grew up with are 20 years old now, and again, a lot of the other games that are slowly getting there, including Shadow the Hedgehog, which 2025, January 1st, the time I'm recording this, and that's also 20 years old. My hip? Well, you know what, I suppose it can't be helped. We can't stop the ever-flowing Eater of Time, and well, unlike the Time Eater that can be defeated through bizarre means of bashing into its core, instead, I don't know, we just sort of erode and die. I didn't mean to end this commentary on such a downer note, but, whatever. Entropy. It's, Tide and Time waits for the snowman, evidently. But yeah, this is also pretty much the final little medley. I'll leave you on the Happy Birthday Sonic that was recorded, I think, at summer of Sonic 2011, so yeah, or was it South by Southwest? I can't quite remember, but anyway, if you were at that event in 2011, you get to hear your voice in game. Catch you later.
Are you sure you saw a door over here? What? You were the one who said you saw a door over here? Well, I know it was one of us. Shut up and keep looking. What time is it? It's the exact same time as when you asked earlier, and it'll be the exact same time when you ask later. There is no time here! Let me just say that this was a brilliant plan that you came up with. Don't get too self-righteous. It'll be your plan pretty soon. I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my life to forgetting it. I heard that! Do we ever win? That depends on your definition of win. Beating Sonic. Oh, well then no. That doesn't give me much hope. Maybe I'll go back and get my teaching degree. That's not a bad idea. I've always enjoyed telling people what to do.